Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So I've not done an aromatherapy video for quite a while, and that's because at the very beginning I tried to create a comprehensive top, middle and base note series so that you would pretty much know everything that you needed to know. Obviously not to the most in-depth, but everything you needed to know for the basics of your most popular essential oils and their benefits. Now, as I've said and will always say, essential oils are so effective. Aromatherapy is very effective, but it's powerful, it's potent. So don't think that it's just perfumes and scents. It really is effective. It will have an effect on the body's systems and your physiology, your mental clarity. So don't even consider buying essential oils and creating your own blends if you're not clinically trained, because you could cause more harm than good. You need to know contra-indications, you need to know about contra-actions, you need to know about special care, you need to know about the dangers in some oils. Whilst they can be very effective, there are some situations where they could interact with medication, they could make you poorly, they could even cause you issues if you are recovering from something, if you've had any recent operations, ailments, illnesses, pregnancy. So these should be taken seriously. So I won't be blending here, and I would never recommend that you blend if you're not clinically trained. What I would suggest is, if you want to buy an oil or two, to use them in a burner or to maybe put some drops in a bath, then again do it, but take advice first. If you want to buy a pre-blended oil where it's in a carrier and it's been blended safely and correctly, then we can talk a little bit about these different ones today, and then you could look for a pre-blend that's got some of the oils in it that you're looking for, and that will give you a safe and effective way to do it. I got these, so long story short, I bought some oils because I want to start doing some blends just for myself. Just want to revitalise and brighten up a little bit. But some of them you'll know before, and some of them might be a little bit different to what we included in the previous videos. Most of them are from Essential Oils Online. And what they do is they give you a little leaflet, and it's a beginner's guide to aromatherapy, which is really handy. So even though I didn't need it, I actually like getting those things because you can always pick up a tip. And then I got some oils from Ellison's, which is an online supplier too. There are so many different places that you can get oils from. Some of these are organic, some of them are not. The choice is yours. The price comes into it, the availability of the oil comes into it, the rarity of the oil. Things like rose oil are incredibly expensive because they're very hard to create. So even if you do get rose oil, you'll get a tiny, tiny little bottle. You'll see that some of these bottles are smaller than others. And again, it can be the cost to make it, the expense in actually creating the oil versus how in demand it is, how rare it is, etc. So I want to go through some top, middle and base notes. And these are just oils. I'm classing this as aromatherapy oils for energy, for relaxation, for stress relief and for wellness, but they do far, far more than that. So I thought we'd start with some top notes. So I'll push these to the back and let's start with some top notes. So the first one we'll go for is Clove, if you can see that. Now Clove actually can be top to middle. It depends on who is actually classing them. So Clove could be arguably top to middle. Now clove oil, if you've ever had cloves, it's a very spicy, warm, almost cinnamony scent. It's if anyone's ever had toothache, and sometimes they'll say put some clove oil on the gum and it can actually numb that area, so it's quite potent and powerful. It's a very pleasant smell. It reminds me of when people are making Christmas fruity, spicy cakes, fruit cakes, maybe mince pies, things like that. It's just a very, very warming oil, very spicy. Like I say, it's not cinnamon, but it's on the path to cinnamon if you're looking for an example. So clove is good for digestion. It's good for the stomach, the gut. It is good for pain relief, and again that leads us into when you had the pain, maybe like wisdom teeth were coming in or a bit of toothache, and it's good for pain relief there. Like I say, too much of it and people would actually feel themselves going numb. But again, you'd be using it within a blend or using it in a premix or maybe a little bit in the bath. It's good for mental clarity. So it's one of those oils that when it's in a blend, again, if you're just feeling your head's a little bit fuzzy, you can't think straight, you're not quite yourself, it's good for that. It's good for tiredness. It can really help to perk you up. And it's also good for nausea and sort of just that kind of yucky feeling. So it can be good in a blend for that too. So clove is it's a popular one, but I would say it's also niche. If you don't like these things, then you really don't like them. So again, sometimes you can surprise yourself when it's in a blend. But if you know you don't like an oil, then it might not be a good idea to look for it within a blend if you really, really don't like it. I am not including warnings and contraindications in this particular video. I'm just talking about the properties and the benefits. But remember, there will always be contraindications. So don't just look at the benefits of an oil and go, oh, I'll get that. You must look at the dangers, the warnings, how to use it, what to avoid. That's why I would say don't even consider buying them individually unless you know what you're doing. Just go for a pre-blend, it's so much easier. But again, go for the real deal. When you go for a pre-blend, don't go for a fragrance or an artificial or a perfume. Go for the real deal aromatherapy essential oils. Right, the next one is lemongrass. This just happens to be organic lemongrass. So as you can imagine, it's quite citrusy. It's a very fresh scent. It's quite sweet. And I would say, yes, it is lemony. I would say, yeah, it's got that lemony scent. So this is good for the gut, again, good for the stomach. Also good for digestion. This one is also good if you've got muscular pains. So it's a good one to have in a pre-blend or a clinically blended oil if you're looking for something like that. It's also good for exhaustion, mental and physical. So if you're just feeling a bit wrung out, or maybe you've been overdoing it, maybe you've been over exercising, or it's been a tough time at work or in your personal life, then lemongrass could be a good one to look for in a blend, or even look for if it's a candle that you're buying, an actual essential oils candle. And our final top note is peppermint. And most of us will be familiar with peppermint. It's minty, it smells very zingy, very fresh. It can be very strong, and if you were to smell it in its pure form, it could actually take your breath away. But remember, you don't use essential oils neat on the skin. Yes, there are one or two that you can, but you can damage your skin, you can burn yourself. There are photosensitivity issues, there are irritation issues, so don't even think about it. But the good thing about peppermint is it's also good for the gut. It's another one that's great for digestion. It's excellent for nausea. It's very good for exhaustion, so it could be in a blend if that's really something that you're looking to tackle. And it's also good for headaches. And I'm sure a lot of us have used products. You used to get an Origins, it was like a balm that you could rub on your temples, and it was very minty, very pepperminty, and that used to help if you had a headache and you didn't want to take tablets. So peppermint is another good one as a top note for when you're looking to tackle those things. Okay, on to middle notes. So we have one of my favourites, I've got a few favourites, geranium. When I used to think of geranium, I just used to think of the plants in the house. And when I was first training, I thought, why would you want geranium? Plants don't even smell of anything. But geranium oil is so lovely. It's sweet, it's fruity. I just think it's just such a lovely oil. It's almost floral, and I don't like floral, so it's a hard one to explain why it could be almost floral, and yet I like it. I think it's the fruitiness. So geranium is really an excellent oil because it's so good at treating all of the, especially in females, reproductive issues. It's almost always included in health and wellness blends. If there's fatigue there, if there's emotional issues there, if there's depression or stress, even skin issues, again, within reason, you're not going to have a miracle cure, but things like eczema and dermatitis, geranium can often be in a blend and can be very effective with it. But yeah, it is considered the woman's oil. I know that nowadays you can't really say things like that, but again, just going by classically what it was referred to, just because it was so good and is so good for all areas of reproductive health. So if it's something, again, that you're struggling with, if you're thinking, oh, that's me, then take a look at different blends that have got geranium in them, because it's an extremely effective oil and I just love the smell. Then we're on to another middle note, which is chamomile. You get lots of different types of chamomile. So you can get Roman, German, etc. It's another very pleasant oil. You'll probably be familiar with it in different tea blends, maybe chamomile pillows if you're wanting to relax, kind of wheat pillows. You get things like that, pillow sprays. It's such a relaxing oil. It's another one that's quite sweet. It's quite warm and fruity. It can also be referred to as being a bit herby. And the thing about chamomile is that it's, again, why do they put it in so many relaxation blends, so many tea blends? Because it calms down your mental state. It can help to tackle anxiety. If you're irritable, it can help to calm that. If you've got, again, moving into female issues, PMT, it can be very effective in a blend for PMT. Headaches, again, another one for nausea. People will take a chamomile tea if they're feeling a bit yucky. Again, other skin issues such as dermatitis, chamomile can be very effective for. So it's a very popular oil, very popular in so many relaxation products. Definitely one to look for if you're thinking, yes, that's another one that sounds like it could be me. And then some base notes. So here's one, myrrh. So most of us won't have a clue what myrrh smells like, but you'll have heard it because of the Christmas story. Jesus was brought gold, frankincense and myrrh. And funnily enough, frankincense is coming up next. I don't think, I agree basically that myrrh doesn't smell very nice on its own. It almost smells like, doesn't smell like paint, but to me it smells like the smell of a DIY store. I know that's so bizarre, but you know when you go into DIY shops and you've got that mix of like wood and paint and varnishes, that's what it smells like to me. But it's very nice in a blend. So I don't think many people would like it on its own, but in a blend it's nice. It is woody, it is earthy. Some people have said it's very distinctive. That's a nice way of saying it's extremely strong. So in a blend, I'd say you can try it on its own, but wow, it just smells like B&Q to me. Random, I know. The good thing about myrrh is the properties. It's another one that's great for calming emotions. It's another one, again, that's good for women, female, reproductive issues. So if someone's got issues with periods, it can be good for bringing them into regularity where they may have been irregular. Again, don't just decide that you're going to take myrrh because you think, oh, I've got issues with periods, I'll take myrrh. You wouldn't know why you were taking it, you wouldn't understand why. It's just that it could be good in a blend if you get issues with that. But always, again, if you're under the doctor's guidance, if you're taking medication, don't start using essential oils without checking that first, because it could interact and it could cause you other effects. Not great. But they do say it's very good for issues with periods if they've got anything that's making them irregular. Just don't take it upon yourself to think, oh, I'll treat myself. Make sure you know why you're doing it. Get a pre-blend and check with a doctor first. It's another one that's good for skin issues. If you've got any dryness, any chapping, it can be quite good, again, in a blend, never directly on the skin. And also, if you've maybe got itchy skin, quite a lot of people say that myrrh is quite effective for that. But again, directly, it would irritate, so never do that. It must be blended. And then the next one, another favourite of mine, frankincense. It's just so nice. It's like frankincense and geranium, I think, are my two favourites. It's warm, it's spicy, it's woody, it's musky, it's sweet. Oh, it's just lovely. I really, really like it. And it's a good one for stress, anxiety, relaxation. A lot of people say it's very, very good for helping to calm the breathing, calm the breath. So really bring the systems again back into relaxation, back into a nice sense of calm. So you'll quite often see frankincense in relaxing, calming, soothing blends. It's just such a lovely oil. So I hope you found that enjoyable. I'll bring them back up onto the table again. So it's just a different way of looking at the oils. We've already got the comprehensive video from a little while ago, but this is about looking for oils specifically for relaxation, energy, stress relief, wellness, all of the above. So you would pick certain oils in your top, middle, base, blend them, again, not yourself, not unless you're clinically trained, but you can look for them within a blend and see how you get on. I wonder if I can show you, I've picked a different oil. I was always your classic, maybe your grapeseed oil, almond oil, but again, you've got to watch for nut allergies. But this time I've decided to use coconut oil. I don't know if you can see that, coconut oil. And again, it's a scentless oil. It's a good carrier, and it means that I can blend whichever ones I choose into this oil. There's an oil, I'll link you to the description. I've not looked at it in depth, but I think it's called the Butterfly Blend, and it's for people that are looking for balance. If things like the thyroid, I'm interested in that at the moment, if that's out of whack. This lady's created something called the Butterfly Blend, and quite a lot of these are within it, but she doesn't tell you how to blend it because, again, she knows that it's not a good idea to tell people how to blend when they're not trained. So she explains what's in her Butterfly Blend for the thyroid, but she doesn't tell you how to blend. So that's where you would maybe go to a professional and ask them about it, or look for a blend that has quite a few of these oils within it. But you can find blends for everything. All you've got to do is make sure that you know why you're taking it, that you've checked that it's okay for you, that you're not contraindicated, and that it's not going to worsen rather than improve the condition. But I hope you found that interesting. As always, let me know in the comments. Thanks again, and I'll see you soon.